All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Maybe we kick things off with just a few quick intros.
My name is Aditya. I go with Adi because it's easy to speak for non-Indian speakers or non-Indians, and I manage the developer relations at Pith. So you guys heard about Pith in the last fireside chat with Dimitri. It's the same Oracle. We provide prices.
Hey guys, Chris. I'm one of the technical co-founders of Drift, Perp Stacks, Borrowland, Prediction Markets, overall DeFi protocol on Solana.
My name is Steve. I work at Triton One. I'm the business developer. We are a infrastructure provider, so we do validators, RPC nodes, and developer tools.
Hello, my name is Medal. I'm founder of UniPay. So we are yield-bearing stablecoin payment protocol on Solana.
And hi, guys. I'm Dimitri, one of the investors at Coin Fund, focusing on liquid markets. You guys kind of touched on this with your intros, but maybe you can talk about, since the topic is the DeFi stack, would love to understand how you guys and your projects really drive the DeFi revolution, and what it is that you're most excited about with your projects today.
Okay, I'll start. We call ourselves an infra provider, just like Triton One, but we don't do validator and RPCs. We provide prices. You need prices on any chain, not only on Solana, but we are talking about Solana here. Any chain out there, any ecosystem, off-chain, on-chain, prices about stock, crypto, heavy metals, anything, we provide that. So we can call ourselves a data provider, but only prices.
Yep, Drift is like kind of one of your canonical DeFi protocols where trading, margin trading, doing lending and borrowing all happens on chain. What I'm excited about is we're still very much committed to building on an L1 and scaling with an L1, whereas right now you see a lot of DeFi kind of making compromises, going off chain to try to increase performance, whereas we're basically following the IBRL and sticking with the L1, and putting a whole cross collateral risk engine on chain. I think super interesting, and I feel like we're on the frontier there. So excited to just keep pushing performance and scaling on Solana.
So what we like to do is provide teams that are building on Solana, mostly DeFi projects, with the tools they need to, scale up their operation on chain. So we leverage a lot of the RPC stack. We built a lot of the tools that most teams use. Yellowstone Geyser suite was actually written by the Triton One team. We maintain it, so anything that helps streaming Geyser or low latency RPC calls is what we try to specialize in. So we do a lot of the base layer of Solana's DeFi.
So about us, UniPay, we have our own yield-bearing stablecoin based on buckets of delta neutral strategy, especially GLP. So we have the best yield in the current yield-bearing stablecoin market. We also have lots of payment capability, for example, issuing credit card, doing cross-border settlements, also doing some overnight payment solutions. Yeah, that is what we're doing right now.
Very cool. So I hear all of you guys kind of talk about some of the very hot use cases that we talk about, whether it's payments, whether it's trading, prediction markets, infra, like updating stuff. Given this is a Solana event, why did you guys pick Solana? And I think, Chris, to your point, like, why is Solana still the best place? Why are you so committed to the L1 vision? And in a world where I think we are seeing a lot more fragmentation, a lot of folks talk about building their own chains. So I think for all of you guys, very curious, like, why is Solana the best place to build your projects?
Chris, you should start with that.
So I guess Drift got started 4 years ago, and when we started, Solana was like the new high throughput blockchain when that was still a very contrarian thing to believe in. The reason why I was inspired to build on Solana was, one, like the technical piece of just like totally talking about how they were going to scale the blockchain vis-a-vis something like Ethereum made a lot of sense to me, coming from like a Web2 Amazon background that needed to be fast and cheap. And then the other part for me was just the community layer of like I did a hackathon and just met all these cool devs that were building online on Twitter and just kind of fell in love with the process of building in public and being a part of this global community. I think now 4 years later, the reason why we keep sticking with Solana is I think it has the best opportunity to fulfill like the dream of having a world computer. Um and I think that's what is compelling about crypto is this idea that you have credibly neutral base layer where you can do all this like DeFi financial activity. Um and they're doing it in a way where it's like you're pushing performance while still having like these properties of having like a global leader set. And I think you see at the cultural level of totally at the top talking about IBRL, it's very much like we need to keep pushing the performance, otherwise we're gonna lose. And I see like new people like Max coming in talking about MCP, continuing to be like, hey, we need to make these changes if we want spreads to get tighter. So I think at just like the high level cultural values of Solana are aligned with what's required to eventually have all trading on chain. And I think if we don't try to get all trading on chain, like it's somewhat pointless, all this crypto stuff. At least, like, I mean, outside of maybe Bitcoin as a store of value, like if we actually want trading to come on chain, I think Solana is like fulfilling the long term mission. So that's why I'm still here.
Uh, Adding, like, it would be similar. Why we started with Solana. Now, like, first thing is performance. So we already had a lot of oracles out there who giving prices. But if you want to build any trading application, you don't want to open a position 50 minutes old price. So our aim was to give as fast as possible prices. So Solana at that time when we started had the big, like the slot time was 400 milliseconds, which is right now, and the community was good. So we started with Solana, and that's the fastest prices that we could give, and still we are one of the fastest oracle. So Solana gave us that background and the infrastructure. So performance and the community for us are the two big factors.
So yeah, for us, the three founders were really enthusiastic about the high performance, low latency capabilities of Solana. There were no real serious parties before Solana that were able to to promise on that or deliver on that. So yeah, we've been with Solana since before mainnet, and we stuck around.
So to me, the question not like why I'm building Solana is why not. Like there is no other place have that liquidity concentration and that fast and that cheap and occupy the user mindset for these features. Like I have no reason not select Solana.
So overwhelmingly positive answers. Maybe let me flip the question around. What do you think are still the issues that need to be resolved? Chris, you talked about some of the technical challenges that perhaps still remain, a few of the tech upgrades. Would love to hear more maybe from you guys on the infra side, and then I guess people building on top of the infra. What do you think is still missing that you guys would like to see as founders and operators in the space?
Uh, okay, I am coming from an EVM background. When I was in Ethereum, I worked for most in EVM. I started Solana 2 years back, and then I realized the tech is much better. And Pith has been there for 5 years, and still, I would say it's very hard to onboard a developer because I work for developer relations. It's very hard to onboard an engineer or developer into Solana ecosystem. 90% developers first learn EVM when nobody is guiding them, and then they come to Solana. And still, we are facing that. So last year, Solana ecosystem and a lot of RPC providers also decided that we want to focus on developer relations. So user experience still is very bad. For a normal person who is coming on any of the protocols out there, they don't care about priority fees, what's the RPC I have to select. And that is a big hurdle for all Web3. But for Solana, if you want to make TradFi come to Solana, I don't want any of the users to select which RPC I have to use. Do I want to add more priority fees, low priority fees? What is that and all that thing? Why my transactions are not landing? So that is a big issue which is stopping us bringing more users into Solana.
Yeah, for me, I think the big issue still with Solana is basically like it's very adversarial to market make and provide liquidity on chain for like complicated reasons. Like there's just like arbitrageurs are way overpowered versus market makers. And so how that manifests is you have wider spreads. You also see people getting slipped and sandwiched and et cetera, et cetera. And if you want people to trade more than just meme coins on chain, like the performance needs to be good enough that you can, you can have single tick Bitcoin spreads. Otherwise, people are going to trade on centralized venues. So what we need to do is like keep moving towards improving performance, which is like, more throughput, faster blocks, etc. That's important. Also thinking through the MEV supply chain, how can we balance out the power between arbitrageurs/searchers and market makers? Um, it's a little bit above my pay grade on how you actually do that, but I know from practice of building a high performance DEX on chain that that's what's holding back getting to like that next level of growth. And if we're like building decentralized NASDAQ and you want people trading Apple on chain, like they're not going to be getting slipped for like, 50 bips because like, because that's how it works on a blockchain. So I think we need to keep that in mind. And I think one of the best metrics to look at for Solana's success is how tight spreads are on major markets, because that's like indicative of how much the tech is maturing.
Yeah, I think for us, generally, Solana is not the best software there is. So yeah, as an RPC provider, you're dealing with, pretty difficult software to handle.
I'm curious, is that a function of like documentation or just like the actual experience?
The actual software itself. So yeah, what we would like to see is more focus on the RPC side of the Agave client, which is happening right now, which we're really really happy with. But yeah, over the course of Solana, the whole history of Solana, we've had several outages, several emergency updates. So yeah. It's not been an easy ride, but it's been a good ride. And I think there could be more competition in client diversification. So maybe more light clients. Everyone, Fire Dancer was all the hype, and now it's not the hype anymore. But I still think we need to focus on more client diversification, both on the on both sides of the coin, read and write, plus the consensus mechanism.
So to me, the major problem of Solana right now, especially for DeFi, is the base assets diversity. Like for example, when Trump this meme come out, like in Solana, in mainnet, the USDT price dropped to 0.6%. 0.6. Do you know why? Because people like keeping withdraw their assets from centralized exchange USDT to bot Trump, but the router will be like that: USDT bot USDC, USDC bot Trump. So people just because the liquidity in there is that small, because the trading volume is that much. People just look like dumping USDT and bought USDC and use USDC to bot Trump. So that make that kind of thing happen, because the like infrastructure, stablecoin trading infrastructure, and the base assets liquidity is not enough. Made that kind of things happen. But till today, it's still like same condition. USDT has like dominate position in the whole DeFi ecosystem. So we need other like more diversified about base assets in the Solana ecosystem.
Super helpful. Thanks. Steve, I kind of want to dive into one of the comments you made. Basically, client diversity, things like that. And I guess across the entire Solana ecosystem, we've seen, to your point, like quite a few different changes in terms of how transactions are bundled, included, and then I guess priced. A few kind of proposals. I think it was SIMD 96. Anyway, there's a few of these things going on. We obviously know Agave now has competition. A lot of different teams building on this or building competitors. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. How do you guys think this changes the operating environment for Solana, but also for your projects? Does this make things easier for you guys going forward in your respective protocols, or does this introduce additional complexity?
I don't know yet. Yeah, we haven't really rolled out any other clients. So we did some testing with Frankendancer, which was satisfactory, but still had some bugs and issues. But yeah, it's still in beta. Other clients, no idea yet. We haven't rolled that out yet or had any testing with it. So hard to say.
What about you? The rest of the
We are testing with Frankendancer. Like, I'm not sure if you guys heard about Fogo. We are close partners with them, so we are testing them. And I don't have the right knowledge to say if it's better or if it's more reliable in terms of client diversity, like a new client. Coming back to SIMD 0990096, yeah. I I'm more of like a bullish side. That was a good change that came to Solana ecosystem. Like, it makes more predictable all the transaction that, like, especially for Oracle, the price data that we push on Solana, it's more predictable now. We know that our transaction will land. It won't be in the correct order. It will land there. We don't all the it's is it the same thing that all the priority fees will go to the validator? It's not 50% burnt. So that makes it more predictable, all the transactions that we will be sending.
Yeah, so Drift runs a decent sized validator. I think the interesting thing is people are starting to learn more about kind of where the rewards are coming from and the different sources. I think it's getting a lot more competitive. SIMD 228 failing, I think, kind of made people realize there's potentially validators that are kind of arbing the Solana Foundation delegation program. And so that might be unwinding a little bit. So I think overall it's good that people are like realizing where rewards are coming from and starting to basically go to more competitive validators. And also hopefully in the future you'll see like Drift has zero fees on their validator because we offer like it's not our core product and we just give it back to users because it helps align us with the network. And I think things like Fire Dancer are just hopefully going to continue to increase like the ability for us to capture block rewards and keep like giving back more yield to users. And hopefully all the dialogue around this helps educate users because like a lot of users actually don't know where any of the yield comes from. So I think it's good that all this is like happening in more mainstream conversation.
And to your earlier comment about sort of the I guess when we tie this in with like the MEV stack and where transactions are prioritized and how people pay for that priority, like does that over time presumably mean that the end user experience becomes smoother, cheaper trading costs, tighter like spreads? Is that your expectation?
Yeah, definitely like Fire Dancer increasing throughput, and if you make the blocks shorter, should like help generally with reducing MEV, which would actually make validators yield go down. So there's like always this tension between a lot of MEV is good for stakers but bad for users. So it's like you're kind of going back and forth of like making stakers happy and then making users happy. Um and I think the most bullish version is you're doing so much throughput and you have so many transactions that you can have a really tiny fee. Um, and like, so, the world where Fire Dancer scales to a million transactions, but then you're like only paying like, sub pennies per transaction in MEV, like that's like the mega bull case because like it's still a lot of revenue, but users aren't having that value extracted from them.
I think we at Triton are more enthusiastic about increasing the block size short term. Yeah, really excited about that. I think that's gonna solve a lot of eventually solve a lot of issues faster.
Madao, I'm curious. We've had some of the other panelists talk about where does the yield come from. You obviously have a product that packages some of that yield. How do you think about this and these kind of developments, and how does that impact you guys?
So the major the currently is not affect us because our yield is come from GLP and GLP is Jupiter liquidity providing. is as a positive delta, it can generate lots of yield. But the problem is it have exposure. So we create a short position in Binance and Backpack, and like hedge this exposure to make sure we can create delta neutral position and make it become a stable coin for our user to create a sustainable and high yield. Like currently, our yield is 4 times that Ethereum can do. Yeah.
I guess, yeah, would love to maybe move on to we talked about having a section on hot takes. So the idea is we go around and have every panelist talk about their spiciest take on Solana DeFi. So maybe we start with you, Aditya. Like, what's your kind of most controversial or contrarian take on Solana DeFi and I guess the state of the industry today?
I'm not that salty, but and working only like my day and night works on the developer relations and not on a lot of other things. But it just like let's stop fastening our blockchains anymore. Let's just stop it. Let's not innovate anymore for some time and make it invisible for users. I always stick on that. Like a products can the products are for advanced crypto users now, and it will remain the same if we don't do anything. So let's start bringing more traffic, make it easier for people rather than innovating it. We can take a pause for some time and let it make at least our experience better. That's maximum salty I can be. That's all.
Chris?
Yeah, that's a hard question. I guess my take is yeah, short to medium term, Solana is going to move to a lot of this just in time RFQ models. You already see it with Drift and Jupiter doing this because the current market making landscape is like too adversarial, so we have to use these models. And then my take would be for Solana to make it long term, it needs to keep pushing performance such that we can bring like proper central limit order books back on chain or something similar to that. Because to really have NASDAQ on chain, you can't just only have just in time liquidity in RFQs. RFQs, request for quote.
So my spicy take is that users should not complain about being sandwiched or getting front run as much because
It's definitely spicy.
it's spicy. I don't agree with it necessarily, but I thought I'd throw it out there. But there is a certain responsibility with the user as well to not put the slippage all the way up to 100 to increase the transaction inclusion or speed up the transaction inclusion. Because yeah, you'll probably get front run all the way up to 100%. So yeah, there is some responsibility with the users as well. I'm using my spicy take to make a bridge to one of the things I want to say later on. All right, that's it for me.
So my spicy take is about the reason why there is no delta neutral euro-bearing stablecoin before like Solana based specific, because when you trying to do creating per short position in Solana, the funding fee arbitrage expectation value is always negative. It's always negative. Like when you're doing E space delta neutral strategy, your short position funding fee arbitrage, the expectation value is about 10%. The SOL is about -8 to -9, something like that. So like if you're trying to do single token doing delta neutral, it won't be work so far. Yeah.
Less of a spicy take from me, but perhaps a question to you guys. We've obviously seen a lot of the activity on Solana that we talked about. It was really the source of most of the on-chain trading volumes, or the on-chain fees, activity, etc. A lot of that obviously driven enormously by meme coins for the big part of last year and some of this year. We hear from the foundation this big push to try and go much more institutional focus, right? You hear Lily and others kind of actively talk about making kind of Solana the source of institutional capital, things like that. So does that make you guys want to change, or does that make you guys have to change your business models or change your biz dev approach? And if so, like, how are you guys responding to this? And is it good or bad?
I think it's a good thing. Why not have both? That's my first counterpoint. But yeah, I think professionalizing would not necessarily be a bad thing for Solana. There's always going to be room for culture coins or content coins, as Jesse from Base dyed it. But I think it's a good move. It will drive innovation as well on chain. So yeah, I'm all for it.
For Drift, like we build just generalized financial infrastructure. So as institutions come on chain, like we can already serve them. So for example, we have isolated borrow lend pools, and we already have some RWA originators like working with us to start using that. So we're already working with some like institutions to coming on chain, and I think all the stuff we are building already works for them. It's just like, figuring out some of the closing the loop on some of the things they need around like regulation. But I think what we're building already works. So I feel like it's just a continuation of what we're doing, and some of the meme coin stuff and degen stuff is just like training before like we bring on more proper assets. And there's already some value for those institutions coming on chain and tapping into like on chain retail liquidity. And I think that'll continue to grow if we can like keep making Solana more performant, because more and more institutions will see like DeFi as legit. But I guess I don't see it as like this orthogonal path to the one we've already been on.
I'm very much aligned to his answer, but for us, it doesn't impact a lot because we are just a data provider, and we already taking data from institutions to provide on chain, and pricing data is very expensive. If you go to TradFi, if you want to take data from Bloomberg or some other providers out there, it's very expensive. What we are providing is aggregating all the data and giving it in much lesser cost. So, as I already told you, we have equities, all that data, and everything. So that doesn't impact us a lot. It gives us more market.
So to me, that definitely is a good thing. So meme coin trading is not totally helpful for the whole chain, but it brings trading volume, it brings transaction fee, but after that, nothing left in there. So like after this institution come in there, the trading yields will come more professional and more sustainable. That is the key to make like Solana last longer.
Cool. Thanks, guys. I think we have just a couple of minutes left before we wrap up. So maybe we'll finish up with the last question, I guess, to you guys is for each one of your projects, maybe like a 45 to 60-second elevator pitch, or any kind of key messages you want the audience and us to take away, any key milestones or like product features you guys are excited about with your projects to keep in mind.
Steve is ready for that.
Steve looks very excited.
This is the one.
Very excited.
Solid.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
So yeah, at Trident One, we heard all the concerns about front running, sandwiching. So we've been working over the past few months to build an on-chain program where you can upload a list on-chain with the validators that you want to process your transactions. So trusted validators. So you can whitelist the validators you want to do business with, where you do want to send your priority fees to, or blacklist the validators that are involved with front running. So the Solana Foundation delegation program has a list with malicious validators. They got destaked by, or at least they lost the delegation from the Solana Foundation delegation program. So we have that list on chain. So over the next few days, maybe a week, we'll do a big announcement. Any transaction handler can port into that program and make sure that their users are safe. So pretty big news from us. Round of applause for our team.
Very cool.
All right,
Nice.
on to the next one.
All right.
Yeah, we just launched Swift, which enables faster and gasless trading, and then we got a new liquidity provider token coming out hopefully over the next month or two, which should also improve liquidity.
Nice.
For us, like 3 things. We introduced Solana TVAPs, time-weighted average pricing. Like we're the first one who did that, and we are very proud. It was not an easy thing. Second, we have an RFQ model, like for a lot of dexes out there who want to integrate that. And third, we are built. It's like we can't say the name, but we are bringing out a new way to use our price feeds in a much better way. Not a better way; it's a new, different way. So we're experimenting with some. Like we have push and pull model. If you guys want to know, I'm here after that. But there's another way that is coming out very soon.
Nice. Madao.
In the next 2 weeks, we will launch our Eurobank stablecoin in Solana mainnet. Yeah, like stay tuned. At the beginning, we can provide a 12% APR. It's one of the highest Eurobank stablecoin, especially in Solana.
Very cool. Excited to see all of these new products and features, and yeah, appreciate you guys kind of coming on stage and talking about your views on Solana and the state of DeFi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.